Well, welcome to the first of 8 YouTube movies looking at the symbolic frame. And what we're going to do during this particular movie, and it's be a short movie, is look at the lesson objectives that we have for the 3 chapters we're going to cover, and then just a couple of key terms that you should be aware of as we're looking at the symbolic frame. So let's go ahead and dig in and see what we've got here. So in the first chapter, chapter 12, we're going to look at, just like we have in previous frames, look at the core assumptions that underlie the frame. Why is this particular frame valid? From there, we'll talk about symbols, how those symbols are used within an organization and some of the various forms of symbols. And then we'll look at organizations as cultures and how do you use culture within an organization. And there's a great saying about the relationship between leadership and culture and strategy, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. All right, chapter 13, we're going to get into group performance, and we'll look at this through stories, humor, and ritual. And then we'll dig into the soul is the secret of success. What an interesting statement. And we'll use a specific example, a case study, to explore this in terms of product delivery and how the culture and the stories and ritual and humor and all the different types of group dynamics interacted to create a symbolic reference for how that team was going to perform. Finally, we'll move into chapter 14, and here we'll start looking at organizations, looking at the structure of those organizations as theater, and do a compare and contrast, if you will, with the structural frame. We'll talk about meetings and planning, again, as theater. So it should be a very different perspective in terms of some of these things that most people perceive as being purely structural, purely a mechanism for setting up the organization. All right, so those are the 3 chapters. Those are the lesson objectives. A few less lesson objectives than we've had in previous frames, but it should be very thought-provoking as we kind of go through these. Only 3 definitions that we need to look at. We have a definition, obviously, of a organizational culture. Bricoleur, I believe that's how you would pronounce that. People who survey and use materials. And then isomorphism, this idea of similarity in form and how this is used within a organization. And we've got 3 different types of isomorphism that are laid out there. All right, well, guess what? That brings us to the end of this first of 8 videos. During this video, we've looked at the lesson objectives of the 3 chapters we're going to cover. 3 very brief terms that we're going to talk about as we're going along. And this is going to be a great look at the symbolic frame.